What if a young boy born in a small log cabin could grow up to change the course of American history? This is the story of Abraham Lincoln, a man who rose from humble beginnings to become the 16th President of the United States. His leadership during the Civil War preserved the nation and ended slavery, marking him as one of the greatest leaders in history. In this story, you will learn about Lincoln's journey from a poor farmer's son to the leader of a divided nation. You will discover how his words inspired a country, his vision reshaped America, and his legacy continues to influence the world today. Get ready to be inspired by the life of Abraham Lincoln, a story of perseverance, unity, and the fight for freedom. Have you ever wondered how a boy born in a small log cabin became one of the greatest leaders in American history? This is the story of Abraham Lincoln, a man who rose from humble beginnings to change the fate of a nation. Abraham Lincoln was born on February 12, 1809, in a simple log cabin in Hardin County, Kentucky. His parents, Thomas and Nancy Lincoln, were farmers who worked hard to provide for their family. Life was not easy for the Lincolns. They lived in poverty, struggling to make ends meet. The family moved often, searching for better opportunities. When Abraham was just 7 years old, they moved to Indiana. It was in Indiana that young Abraham began to learn about hard work. His father put him to work on the family farm, chopping wood, plowing fields, and caring for the animals. Lincoln did not have much time for school. In fact, he only attended school for about 1 year altogether. But that did not stop him from learning. Abraham loved to read. He would borrow books from neighbors and read them by the light of the fireplace late into the night. Books became his teachers. He read everything he could find: history, politics, science, and literature. His favorite book was the Bible, but he also read classics like Robinson Crusoe and Aesop's Fables. Lincoln's hunger for knowledge was powerful. Even without formal schooling, he became one of the most well-read men of his time. His love for learning never stopped. But life was not always kind to young Abraham. When he was just 9 years old, his mother, Nancy, passed away from illness. Her death was a great loss for the family. Lincoln was heartbroken, but he did not give up. His father remarried a woman named Sarah Bush Johnston. She became a caring stepmother to Abraham. Sarah encouraged Lincoln's love for reading and learning. She made sure he had time to study, even with all the chores he had to do. Lincoln continued to work hard on the farm, but his dreams were bigger than the fields of Indiana. He wanted to learn more, to understand the world beyond his small town. As he grew older, Lincoln began working various jobs to support his family. He became a shopkeeper, a postmaster, and even worked on the riverboats along the Mississippi River. These experiences opened his eyes to the larger world. He saw the harsh realities of slavery and the differences between the North and the South. Lincoln's curiosity grew. He wanted to understand the laws and politics that shaped his country. He began reading law books on his own, studying late into the night after his long days of work. Lincoln taught himself everything he needed to know to become a lawyer. His determination and self-education were remarkable. By 1834, Lincoln was ready to take his first step into politics. He ran for a seat in the Illinois state legislature and won. This marked the beginning of Abraham Lincoln's political journey, one that would take him from the small towns of Illinois to the highest office in the United States. But his path was not easy. Lincoln faced challenges, setbacks, and moments of doubt. Through it all, he never stopped learning, never stopped growing, and never stopped believing in a better future. This was just the beginning of his story, a story that would change the course of American history forever. Abraham Lincoln's journey into politics was just beginning. After winning his first election to the Illinois state legislature in 1834, he knew that his life was about to change. Lincoln was a natural speaker. He had a way with words that captured people's attention. He spoke with honesty and clarity, and his reputation for being fair and just began to grow. During his time in the Illinois state legislature, Lincoln focused on improving the lives of ordinary people. He believed that the government should work for everyone, not just the wealthy or powerful. Lincoln also took an interest in law. He continued to study, reading law books and practicing his skills. By 1837, he had passed the bar exam and became a lawyer. He moved to Springfield, Illinois, where he opened a law practice. His reputation as an honest and hardworking lawyer spread quickly. People began to call him Honest Abe because of his fairness and integrity. Lincoln took on many cases, defending the rights of the common man and standing up for what he believed was right. As his career grew, so did his interest in politics. He joined the newly formed Whig Party and began speaking out against the expansion of slavery. Lincoln believed that slavery was wrong. He saw it as a moral issue, not just a political one. He spoke openly about his beliefs, even when it was unpopular. His speeches were powerful and clear, and they began to attract attention from people across the state. Lincoln's stance on slavery would soon become the central theme of his political career. He believed that all men were created equal, and he was not afraid to say so. By the late 1840s, Lincoln had become one of the most respected lawyers and politicians in Illinois. His name was known throughout the state for his honesty, intelligence, and strong beliefs. In 1846, Lincoln was elected to the United States Congress. He served one term in the House of Representatives, where he continued to speak out against slavery. His time in Congress was short, but it gave him a taste of national politics. He knew that he wanted to do more. Lincoln returned to Illinois and continued his law practice, but his passion for politics never faded. He watched as the nation grew more divided over the issue of slavery. He knew that something had to be done. The United States was changing, and Lincoln wanted to be part of that change. In 1854, Congress passed the Kansas-Nebraska Act, which allowed new territories to decide for themselves if they would allow slavery. This decision outraged Lincoln. He believed that allowing slavery to spread was a threat to the nation's future. Lincoln re-entered politics with a renewed sense of purpose. He joined the newly formed Republican Party, which was committed to stopping the spread of slavery. His powerful speeches and clear stance on slavery made him a leader within the party. People began to see Lincoln not just as a lawyer or a politician, but as a true leader. The stage was set for Lincoln's next step in his journey. He was ready to take his fight for freedom and equality to the national stage, and the world was about to witness the rise of one of America's greatest leaders. As Abraham Lincoln's political career grew, so did his reputation as a strong voice against slavery. His speeches were powerful, filled with conviction and a clear sense of justice. He believed that America could not move forward as a divided nation, half slave and half free. In 1858, Lincoln ran for the United States Senate against Stephen A. Douglas. This campaign became famous for the Lincoln-Douglas debates, a series of 7 debates focused largely on the issue of slavery. Lincoln argued passionately that slavery should not spread to new territories. He believed that if slavery continued to expand, it would threaten the nation's principles of freedom and equality. Douglas, on the other hand, argued for popular sovereignty, the idea that each territory should decide for itself whether to allow slavery. The debates drew national attention, and Lincoln's powerful speeches made him a household name. Though Lincoln lost the Senate race to Douglas, his performance in the debates established him as a leading voice against slavery. He had proven that he could stand his ground and speak for what he believed was right. The nation was beginning to take notice of Abraham Lincoln. His stance on slavery and his ability to communicate clearly and honestly set him apart from many politicians of his time. Lincoln's belief in equality and justice for all continued to drive him forward. He knew that the fight against slavery was far from over. In 1860, the Republican Party nominated Lincoln as its candidate for President of the United States. His nomination was not without controversy. Many in the South feared his anti-slavery stance. But Lincoln remained firm in his beliefs. He campaigned on the promise of stopping the spread of slavery, protecting American industry, and uniting the nation. The election of 1860 was one of the most intense in American history. The country was deeply divided over slavery, and Lincoln's name did not even appear on the ballot in many southern states. Despite this, Lincoln won the election, becoming the 16th President of the United States. His victory sent shockwaves through the South. Southern states, fearing that Lincoln would try to abolish slavery, began to secede from the Union. One by one, states declared their independence, forming the Confederate States of America. The nation was on the brink of war. Lincoln faced the greatest challenge of his life, how to preserve the United States as one nation. His leadership would be tested in ways he could never have imagined. The Civil War was coming, and Abraham Lincoln would soon be leading the country through its darkest days. Despite the looming threat of war, Lincoln remained calm and focused. He believed that the Union must be preserved, no matter the cost. His journey to the White House was complete, but his journey as a leader was just beginning. The decisions he would make in the coming years would change the nation forever. When Abraham Lincoln took office as the 16th President of the United States, the nation was on the edge of conflict. Southern states had already begun seceding from the Union, and tensions were rising fast. Lincoln faced one of the greatest challenges any American president had ever faced: keeping the country together. On April 12, 1861, the Civil War officially began when Confederate forces attacked Fort Sumter in South Carolina. Lincoln knew that preserving the Union was his primary goal. He believed that the United States could not survive as a divided nation. His leadership was put to the test as he navigated the chaos of war. Lincoln had never served in the military, but his strategic thinking and strong moral compass guided him through each decision. He appointed strong military leaders, including Ulysses S. Grant, who would become a key figure in the Union's success. The war was brutal. Brothers fought against brothers, families were torn apart, and the nation was engulfed in bloodshed. Lincoln remained steady, delivering speeches that inspired hope and unity. One of his most famous speeches during the war was the Emancipation Proclamation, issued on January 1, 1863. This document declared that all slaves in Confederate states were to be set free. It was a turning point in the war and in American history. The Emancipation Proclamation redefined the purpose of the war. It was not just about preserving the Union. It was about freedom and equality. Lincoln's decision to issue the proclamation was bold and courageous. He knew it would face resistance, but he also knew it was the right thing to do. The war raged on for years, with battles being fought across the country. Lincoln continued to push for unity and peace, even when the outcome seemed uncertain. He met with generals, strategized with his advisors, and stayed committed to the cause of ending slavery and reuniting the nation. Lincoln's ability to lead during such a tumultuous time inspired many. His calm demeanor, strong principles, and unwavering belief in equality guided the nation through its darkest hours. The Civil War finally came to an end on April 9, 1865, when General Robert E. Lee surrendered to General Ulysses S. Grant at Appomattox Courthouse in Virginia. The Union had been preserved, and slavery was coming to an end in the United States. Lincoln's vision of a united nation, free from slavery, had been realized. His leadership through the Civil War cemented his legacy as one of America's greatest presidents. But Lincoln's journey was not yet complete. He knew that the nation needed to heal. His focus shifted to Reconstruction and bringing the country back together. Lincoln believed that the South should be treated with compassion, not punishment. He wanted the United States to rebuild stronger and more united than ever before. The war had ended, but Lincoln's vision for America was just beginning. He wanted a nation that was truly free and united, where all people could pursue happiness and live in peace. Abraham Lincoln had led the country through its greatest challenge. Now, he looked forward to leading it into a new era of hope and unity. The Civil War had finally come to an end, and the United States was on the path to healing. Abraham Lincoln knew that the next challenge would be rebuilding the nation and bringing the North and South back together. He believed in a gentle approach to Reconstruction. Lincoln wanted to welcome the Southern states back into the Union with forgiveness and understanding, not with punishment. His vision was clear. He wanted malice toward none, with charity for all. He spoke of healing and unity, of building a stronger nation that was free from slavery and united in purpose. Lincoln's leadership was tested once again as he began the process of Reconstruction. He worked with Congress to establish policies that would help rebuild the South and ensure equal rights for newly freed slaves. He believed that African Americans deserved the same rights and opportunities as everyone else. His push for the 13th Amendment, which would abolish slavery across the entire nation, was a testament to his commitment to equality. The 13th Amendment was passed by Congress on January 31, 1865, and ratified later that year. It was a historic moment, marking the official end of slavery in the United States. Lincoln's dream of a united and equal America seemed closer than ever. But his vision was cut short by a tragic event that would change the nation forever. On April 14, 1865, just 5 days after General Lee's surrender, Abraham Lincoln went to Ford's Theater in Washington, D.C., to watch a play with his wife, Mary Todd Lincoln. During the performance, John Wilkes Booth, a well-known actor and Confederate sympathizer, entered Lincoln's private box and shot him. The president was rushed across the street to a nearby house, but his injuries were too severe. Abraham Lincoln passed away the following morning on April 15, 1865. His death shocked the nation and left many wondering what the future would hold without his leadership. The country mourned the loss of its leader. People gathered in cities and towns across America to pay their respects. His funeral procession traveled through several states, giving people the chance to say goodbye. Lincoln was laid to rest in his hometown of Springfield, Illinois. His legacy, however, would live on forever. Abraham Lincoln's life and leadership left a lasting impact on the United States. He guided the nation through its darkest days, ended the institution of slavery, and set the stage for a more just and equal society. His vision of unity, freedom, and equality continued to inspire generations long after his death. Statues, memorials, and schools were built in his honor, and his image was placed on American currency. Today, Lincoln is remembered as one of the greatest presidents in American history. His journey from a log cabin in Kentucky to the White House is a story of perseverance, strength, and belief in the power of equality. His words, "Government of the people, by the people, for the people, shall not perish from the earth," continue to echo through history, reminding us of the ideals he fought to protect. Abraham Lincoln's story is a testament to what one person can achieve with courage, compassion, and a commitment to what is right. Abraham Lincoln's legacy did not end with his tragic death. In fact, it only grew stronger as time passed. His vision for a united nation and his commitment to equality continued to shape America long after he was gone. The Reconstruction period that followed the Civil War was a direct result of Lincoln's policies. His dream of rebuilding the South with compassion and unity was carried forward by his supporters, even as political battles raged on. The passage of the 13th Amendment marked the official end of slavery in the United States. But Lincoln's vision extended beyond just ending slavery. He believed that true freedom meant equal rights for all. His leadership inspired the 14th Amendment, which granted citizenship and equal protection under the law to anyone born in the United States, including former slaves. This was a monumental step forward for civil rights in America. Lincoln's commitment to justice and equality laid the foundation for the civil rights movement that would come nearly a century later. Leaders like Martin Luther King Jr. looked to Lincoln's words and actions as a symbol of hope and progress. The Gettysburg Address, which Lincoln delivered during the Civil War, became one of the most iconic speeches in American history. His words, "All men are created equal," served as a guiding light for those who fought for civil rights and equality. Lincoln's impact reached far beyond the United States. His leadership and dedication to justice inspired people around the world who were fighting for their own freedoms. He became a symbol of perseverance, strength, and the belief that one person can truly make a difference. Monuments were built in his honor, schools were named after him, and his face was placed on American currency as a constant reminder of his legacy. The Lincoln Memorial in Washington, D.C., stands as a tribute to his life and achievements. People from all over the world visit to pay their respects to the man who led America through its darkest hours. Lincoln's legacy also serves as a reminder of the power of education and self-improvement. He rose from humble beginnings, taught himself law, and led the nation with wisdom and integrity. His story is proof that anyone, no matter their background, can achieve greatness through hard work, perseverance, and a belief in justice. Abraham Lincoln is remembered as a symbol of unity, freedom, and equality. His leadership during the Civil War and his vision for a united nation continue to inspire people around the world. His life reminds us that even in the face of adversity, one person's courage and determination can change the course of history. Lincoln's story is not just American history. It is a testament to the power of hope, resilience, and the unyielding fight for what is right. The legacy of Abraham Lincoln lives on as a symbol of unity, justice, and equality. His courage to stand for what was right, even in the face of adversity, changed the fate of a nation. His words still echo in American history, reminding us that freedom and equality are worth fighting for. Lincoln's life is a testament to the power of perseverance, the strength of leadership, and the impact one person can have on the world. His vision for a united America paved the way for progress, and his story continues to inspire generations. Thank you for joining us on this journey through the story of Abraham Lincoln. May his legacy remind you that even the smallest beginnings can lead to the greatest changes.